ZombieTech. Welcome to ZombieTech, a forum for engineers, scientists, and inventors to ponder on the technologies needed to survive the inevitable zombie apocalypse.
She's Eddie.
He's Whisker.
And who do we have this week?
We have Joey Hudy, a 14-year-old, is that correct?
Yes.
14-year-old engineer who has made kits, who has taken the maker world by storm. Hi, Joey.
Hi.
So, when did you start all of your electronics projects and all of this making and such?
I started to make starting May.
Okay.
Because that's when I first went to my first maker fair.
This past May.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And what did you go to maker fair with? Or did you just go to see what was going on?
I came with my marshmallow cannon at first.
Okay.
We did the whole round trip to each one, so I brought that one along. At first we were just like in the young makers.
Sure.
And then at the other ones we turned into being having our own booths and selling. Awesome.
And we'll get to your marshmallow cannon, which by the way is super awesome, and I totally want to make one myself. But what inspired you to start working on all of these projects or the DIY stuff?
I just really didn't have anything to do, so I was bored. That's why I always say is I was bored.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like the best reason to do anything.
That is true. So you just decided one day, well, I'm kind of bored. Let's make a marshmallow cannon, or like, how did that work out?
I had the idea of using compressed air, and then to like shoot something. And then when I looked online, other people had done it, so then I had to change the design a little bit to make it a little more abstract.
Okay, and did you do this all yourself, or did you have help with that?
I had help with a couple of things. The money-wise, I got help from Home Depot. They helped pay for it.
Nice.
Yeah. It would have cost like $100 or so.
Sure. That's quite a bit of money.
Yeah. So I was really happy that they helped me out with that. And yeah. I made something from there before. It was like a trebuchet. And they helped me pay a little bit of that.
Okay.
And I made friends with one of the workers there, and he helped me out with the base of the marshmallow cannon.
Super cool. And so, was that mostly like you had an idea and then found some, I guess, schematics online, and then had some of the friends help you out, like help make it with you, for you, or how?
With me, I had the idea of just having a single cylinder as the compressed tank.
Okay.
But when I looked online, that's what everybody has, so I didn't want him to be that much of a copycat. So I just kind of made it abstract.
Sure. I like it. A man with ambition, coming up with your own designs. I dig it. That's very cool. Now, you mentioned a trebuchet. I love trebuchets. Mm-hmm. And Whisker and I, we sometimes play like these medieval games on like the computer and such. And trebuchets are the worst enemy ever because they will take down a castle wall like nothing else. So, can you tell us a little about the trebuchet? Because that would be perfect against zombies.
Yeah, the trebuchet, it's about like how I can't think of like probably like 5 or 4 feet high.
Wow.
And it can only shoot like a tennis ball. I don't know.
That's probably for the best, really.
Because the counterweight is like a two 1 pound weights and a paint canister that is filled with sand.
Nice.
And right now it's not working because the basket is not working.
Okay.
And originally it didn't have wheels, so it was really hard to transport.
Sure.
But then I went to Walmart and bought a couple of wheels so I could make it roll.
Gotcha. Well, it's about as tall as I am, so yeah, that would be difficult to move. So, and how did the idea for a trebuchet come up? I mean, were you like planning for zombies or?
Well, I saw originally a cardboard trebuchet on Instructables,
Okay.
and I tried making it. That project probably took me 2 days, 3 days.
Sure.
Cutting a whole bunch of cardboard, and when I finally got everything all together, it didn't work. The whole form, the whole form just collapsed, and
Oh.
I'll have part of it because the only part that did stay intact was the arm of it,
Mm-hmm.
arm and the counterweight, which thought would have been the most failed
Sure.
part.
Sure.
But that one was larger than the trebuchet that actually works.
Ah, I see.
And I kind of cheated because it said to use like stronger cardboard than I did use.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably should have stuck to the Instructable.
Well, it's kind of you hope that your finagling with it will work, because I like cutting corners too sometimes. And if you don't have the money, for instance, to buy that heavy cardboard or to get that heavy cardboard, well, you got to make do, right? Because, I mean, in the zombie apocalypse, for instance, we may not have heavy cardboard. We may only have that light stuff. And so we're going to have to figure out how to kind of knock a few tennis balls into the zombie crowds.
And any engineer with experience will tell you it's worth it to fail, because every single time you do something and it doesn't quite work out right, you learn from that. And the knowledge that you pick up from each one of those failures is what makes you, a really good engineer at the end of the day.
Yep.
From the trebuchet that I have right now, I learned that yarn and wood do not mix. Because the yarn, that's what happened with the basket, is that the yarn got stuck onto the wood.
Oh, yeah.
And I had the basket, the actual part that held the tennis ball was made out of packing tape.
Oh, okay.
Bunch sides, because I really didn't want to spend a dime on it.
Sure. Yeah.
So that failed.
Oh, that's okay. You now have a working one. I mean, besides the basket that can eventually be fixed, but
yeah,
you still have one that's about as tall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna
not
have
simple
to.
machines either. I mean,
No, they aren't.
they do a very simple thing, but the way in which they do it is not obvious. It's not trivial either. I remember as a kid, one of the best Christmases I can remember is when my younger brother was given a bunch of like really nice building blocks, and I was given a big, huge tin of old school Tinker toys when they were still made out of wood. And we're not normal kids, I'm like high functioning autistic, and he's like, a cool little brother who was real fun to play with. And he liked to build castles with his blocks, and I built a trebuchet out of my Tinker toys.
That's so mean, Whisker.
It was fun though. We both had a good time.
So did you launch it at anything? Like how far can your trebuchet throw a tennis ball?
How far do you think it would be from?
I don't know.
Yeah,
20 feet or something.
I could.
Awesome.
I could probably just run the distance faster than I could shoot it. Yeah,
That's true. But that's, you know what? That's still pretty darn cool.
I also haven't tested like how much weight it could hold.
Okay. Yeah. So no cannonballs yet. Gotcha. All right. Well, we're gonna have to help and see if we can make it sturdy for the zombie apocalypse bunker, because 20 feet could mean you keep your brain for another day. So
You get one of those pumpkin chunkin ones.
the what kinds?
The pumpkin chunkin from that show.
Oh, what's
yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I've
What's
seen that.
Those things are insane.
Yeah, some of the guys will make bigger ones, Addy, and they'll use them. They'll all get together in a big field, and they'll set up on one side of the field, and they'll load up their trebuchets with big pumpkins, and they'll have a contest to see who can chuck them the farthest. And some of these guys
That's
get
great.
like, really, really out of hand with it, and they'll start like hooking up small cars to their trebuchets and
What?
throwing a car across the field.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then you have the air cannons there that can do like over 2,000 feet.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see
That's crazy.
the news the other morning about the Mythbusters sort of having a misfire with their cannon on the range?
Oh
It's like,
yeah.
oops.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait to see that episode.
I don't know if they're gonna show it actually. I mean, because I think they're in a little bit of trouble with the folks whose house
Well,
they.
if their show goes off the air, and then we can interview them on ZombieTech, because we interview people from Discovery all the time.
That's true.
Not usually when their show is on the air. We wait till it's off the air.
They actually got kicked out of an area before because they were too noisy for their neighbors.
Wow, they got called out. My goodness, that's great. Well, I mean, I don't know. How important is safety to all of your projects?
Definitely, I'm afraid of the air cannon one when it's overpressured.
Sure.
Because I only pressured up to 30 psi, but I know it can do way larger than that.
Oh.
But when you can't pump it up with the bike pump anymore, you kind of get the idea of how scary it kind of is.
Sure. I guess we can go into talking about the marshmallow cannon. How far can you chuck a marshmallow?
The marshmallows will go 176 feet. And if you put a marble down after it, it will go probably twice that distance.
Oh my gosh. So, could you put a whole bunch of marbles in there?
Yeah. I've only done 3 at a time. Most you can do tons of marshmallows. You can do anything that can fit down the barrel, basically.
That is so cool. That is totally zombie bunker material. Because I was a little afraid that it'd only be able to launch marshmallows, but if it can do marbles, I'm impressed.
We also have different sized barrels for smaller marshmallows and a t-shirt. The t-shirts I can also throw farther though.
That's cool. Have you tried launching little parachute men?
No.
That might be fun. See how high you can get them,
Mm-hmm.
and then have them float down.
On pirate ships, they used to take their more mortar style cannons and just fill them full of silverware and broken crockery and whatever. And when Addie suggested the little soldiers with the parachutes, I just got this amazing visual of your air cannon. If you were to just take the big diameter barrel and just stuff it full of little army men with the parachutes and shoot it straight up in the air, just rain down.
We might have to send you a bag of those, just for proof of concept, just to see if it actually works.
I actually did make a net for it to shoot out.
Ah, okay.
That's pretty cool.
Very nice.
Made the net with yarn.
That's awesome.
And I just basically tied on marshmallows to the 4 ends and put them into the barrel. And it worked really good.
Did it? Oh.
Until I had to get it off the bush that I shot it onto.
That is so cool.
Just really difficult.
That's very cool.
Now, see, this is where I was lucky having a younger brother, because I would do this kind of stuff too as a kid, but I also had a target,
Don't give him ideas.
It's hey, Charlie, run over there.
I actually have gotten hit with the marshmallows at 15 psi, and it does hurt.
Does it really? Oh gosh.
I felt like it definitely should have left a bruise, but it didn't.
Oh
Probably if I
wow.
would have done it at 30 psi, it would have left the
Wow.
marshmallow size bruise.
So it's like, have you ever gone paintball? Or yeah, is that right? Paintballing?
I've done airsoft. I haven't done paintball.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I mean, I guess there's a new use for marshmallows. My goodness. But I'm glad you didn't get a bruise. That those are unpleasant.
It shot me right in the right arm.
Was it point blank or?
I was like 20 feet away from it.
Wow, that's pretty hardcore for even 20 feet away. Very very. And it's funny because I've had friends in college who tried to make a potato cannon,
Mhm.
and we must have tried for about 5. So my friend made it, brought it over, and we tried to test it for about 5 hours, 5 to 8 hours or so. And the only thing we ended up doing with it was making a baseball bat out of it. We just ended up hitting the potatoes instead of launching them because it just did not work at all. But we were trying to use like aerosol.
I've done stuff like I've done one little spud gun out of like a pill bottle and a camera for the igniter.
Whoa, that's
'Cause
cool.
I had a camera taser laying around. I have several of them.
A camera taser?
Yeah, if you take apart a disposable camera, there's a capacitor rated to 330 volts inside of it. And you can disassemble and unsolder a couple of parts and rearrange them to make it continuous instead of just one large bolt.
Wow.
And the one I've made one that can go over it. My multimeter read over 900 volts.
Ouch.
Because I attached a 9 volt battery instead of a AA.
Sure.
But there's a part that commonly heats up in it, so.
Now, how did you figure that out? I mean, were you just taking things apart and?
Instructables, I'm on there like 24/7.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, it's like the best thing ever for somebody who like wants to know how things work, right?
True.
Yep.
And you
Like
pretty much look
camera
up any
taser?
topic and somebody's kind enough to put up some information explaining it. It's great.
Yeah. When I was actually looking at the instructables, some people have like bags and bags of cameras. I'm thinking, where'd they get those? And then in the description, I said, just go to Walmart and ask for them. And I went to like several Walmarts and they didn't give them to me. And finally, I went to Target.
Oh, and then they gave it to you.
Yeah.
Wow. Hardcore. That is so cool. I mean, and you haven't like accidentally shocked yourself or anything.
I've done that several times.
With like 900 volts?
I haven't done a 900 volts one because I kind of put that aside because I'm afraid of that one. I've done a 300 volts. I think one of them is like 360 or 70.
Wow.
That one's continuous. I've made a Leyden jar, which I am unable to measure what it puts out.
Sure.
Because I did try it with a Harbor Freight multimeter and it broke it.
Yeah.
And it's
That's cool.
the Leyden jar is like one that you just make out of a bottle and with aluminum foil and a bolt.
Right.
Yeah. A Leyden jar can get very, very, very high capacitance ratings on it. So yeah, I'm not surprised that you were able to blow up a meter with one.
It's not lethal because unless if you, of course, do. I have seen a couple of instructables people that done them with Home Depot buckets, which are lethal.
Sure. Oh, those are just huge.
And mine is just like a little bottle, and I just use PCB with a towel to generate the static electricity.
Addie has actually been on Hackaday for one of her do-it-yourself capacitors.
My ridiculously silly DIY capacitors, because I pretty much wanted to, not I didn't want to make a Leyden jar because they already did such a good job of documenting that on Make.
Yeah.
So I decided to just roll it up. So I had two, just like a capacitor, you have the two conductive plates with a what's it called? Insulating center, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just used foil and saran wrap and then rolled that up really tiny, and then measured the capacitance. It was just to see if it worked. So
I've seen. I think it's neat that people do that kind of stuff, that make their homemade electrical components, like the resistors out of paper and pencil.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
Yep.
Next thing you know, there's going to be a homemade LED, which I haven't seen yet.
That's true, actually. I have not seen a homemade LED yet. But that's
'Cause the rocks are like expensive if you just buy like a chunk of them.
yeah. Well, if you do it, let us know. I'll be sure to submit it to Hackaday for you. So let's see. Now, one of the biggest projects that I guess a lot of people know you for is your LED cube shield.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that idea come about? And yeah.
Now, isn't that what John S?
Yep. He bought it.
John's the one who said that we should get a hold of you and interview you. I guess he met you at one of the Maker Fairs because he was buying one of those kits of yours.
Yep. At Maker Fair Phoenix, I believe it was.
Yes.
Yep.
So basically, I had the idea because I was looking on Instructables trying to figure out how to make one.
Okay.
And the way that people always showed them was not very well put together because I couldn't figure out how the heck you were supposed to hook them up and get the 3 dimensions. I thought some of them were Charlieplex, and I could not for the life of me figure that out.
Sure.
And I mean, I can do Charlieplex with 2D, but when it goes to 3D, it's harder.
Right.
And messier. So I did multiplexing. And I basically just made the shield to make it easier for everybody to build theirs.
Now, I haven't worked much with Arduinos. Is that capable of being battery powered?
Yeah, actually, there's a 9-volt battery connector to it that comes with it if you get the starter kit.
Ah, okay.
Can you guys see do you guys have video?
Let's see.
We do, but the listeners to the show won't have it. So
True. That's okay. I mean, I can look it up. I was just wondering if it was battery powered or if it had to be, hooked up to.
If you have it, it can be either USB or battery powered.
Okay.
So it powers from the computer when you have it hooked up, and when you unplug it and you attach the battery, then it's battery powered.
Cool. So what does the LED cube shield essentially do?
Just light up in whatever pattern you program it to. Like I have a sketch running right now that you have a potentiometer hooked up, and it will change the code.
Cool.
So basically what he's done here is he's got a 3x3x3 multiplexed 3-dimensional cube of LEDs.
Yep.
And that's not an easy thing to wrap your head around.
I want to make an 8x8, and if that's easy, I want to make a shield. Right now I'm working on an EL wire shield, so.
Okay. Very cool. Now, what was the biggest challenge with coming up with that, or with doing the 3x3x3 project?
Probably either getting the money or finding a good PCB manufacturer.
Ah.
What did you end up going with for your boards?
PCB cart.
Okay.
They did a pretty good job. Now that I've learned a couple of things, I wish I could change the design a little bit.
Yeah, that's always the case. Once you get a run done, you're like, I could have done.
Yeah. So then you have to change your code, you have to change your directions, and you have to change everything basically.
Sure. So are you thinking of coming up with a second iteration of the LED cube?
I want to do like every New York Maker Faire have a new LED cube.
Oh, okay.
I think that would be a neat and fun project because right after I learned about LED cube, I learned about shift registers. So I was a little late about learning that.
Sure.
Shift registers are awesome.
Oh, they are. They're so much fun.
Very neat. Now, how many LED cubes have you sold thus far?
I don't know. I think 150.
Wow.
This is why he's an inventor
That's cool.
and not an accountant. It's like, I don't know, some.
Enough. And you use these to help with your fundraisers for getting to Maker Faire?
A large percent of it goes to fundraising.
Okay.
I probably get like a 5% just spending money. I normally waste that on Adafruit. So
Nice. It can't be considered a waste. It's investment.
Yeah.
Very neat.
And really, you're in a good position, and you should take full advantage of this position. You should not be paying for any of your parts. There's a million different companies that would be happy to give you stuff because you're out there doing it publicly. You're showing off what's possible with their products, and you're doing it as a, what'd you say, 13-year-old? 14 years old. The company's going to be like, that just shows everybody that a 14-year-old can figure out how to do this stuff, so can you. And that makes it a lot easier for them to sell their products. So, you take advantage of the situation that you're in. Seriously, you're in a very unique position. I right off the top of my head, I can think of probably 10 different companies that would gladly enjoy having you as an evangelist for their products.
Yeah, I actually, since Maker Faire, I've gotten a couple of companies they've been very generous in giving me a couple of things. Like I call it this one box of mine, like the goodie box, because it has a ton of different shields of Arduino shields, and it's probably
nice.
Has over 200 worth of Arduino materials inside of it.
Nice.
And I've gotten just countless amount of help from Alinco Electronics, Microchip gave me 2 of their Uno 32s and their I think it's their Mega 32.
Okay. Well, that's nice of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's been so generous and it's so nice that they've actually done this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing it for a good reason for them too. Of course, it is nice for them to do that, but it's also really smart for them to do that because if I were trying to sell something, you'd be a pretty good person to hand it to and say, "Here, go play with this and let people know what you think."
Yeah. I actually have gotten Alinco has given me about 3 different soldering ironers, and they're all fantabulous.
That's awesome.
I have shelves of resistors and capacitors, and of course, when I get a hack into computers, I pull out all of the capacitors from it. I just strip it down.
Sure. Now, how did you learn all of this stuff? Did you just
originally, I had no clue what the basics, even like a resistor or capacitor, did.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alinco introduced soldering to me, and they gave me my first soldering ironer.
Oh, okay.
And that's basically how I learned. And then they gave me a couple of kits, and those kits came with a pamphlet that lists the names of different components, like the basics of them, and water analogies and what their purpose are. And I just reread them over and over again until it got engraved in my mind, and that's how I got it.
Gotcha. Now I'm kind of in a similar boat. I am obviously older, but the start of this year, I had no idea what a resistor was. And I think if you had asked me 2 years ago if I had wanted to know what a resistor was, I would have said no way, super boring, not interested, because I'm more into biology, and not until this year was I into electronics. And so I've been going through each of the components and like reading schematics and learning how to read data sheets for this past year. And
it's definitely fun once you know what it does. I'm like, when I learned the resistor code, I was bugging my mom to just draw down random colors.
Just to test
orange.
you.
Yeah. It's just so much fun.
Sure.
Before, it's not even, I think it's like only been a year. Like you, I've only been like introduced to this stuff for a year.
Right.
And I've learned so much that when I look back on it, I look at me playing with little random things out of like pencils and building stuff out of that. I'm thinking,
right.
I kind of laugh at my old projects and see how much I could improve them now.
Sure. Well, it's a really steep learning curve, and it's getting past that initial frustration of learning the new stuff.
Yeah.
That you finally realize, oh man, there's like so much potential here.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
It's like the Hello World sketch.
Yeah. Now you started with Arduinos, and before this, had you programmed at all, or are Arduinos your first programming?
Arduino was my first programming, and I think it will always be my favorite.
Yeah. The first is always the favorite, I think.
It's so user friendly that it's easy.
Sure.
And when I first looked at a code, I had no clue how to do it and what everything's meant. I just knew what they did.
Right.
I just kind of copied and pasted, and over this year, I've learned a mass amount of coding skills.
Sure. Well, you're probably better than I am. Mm-hmm. At this point, I can make an LED blink on and off. Huzzah!
Yeah, I've learned a little bit of binary C. I'm working on Windows Visual Basics right now. I'm learning a little bit of that. I do OpenSCAD, EvilCAD.
Oh my gosh. You're like owning me. Now, do you have a favorite?
Seriously, he reminds me of Jeremy.
Jeremy Blum?
Yeah, like just, slightly younger version of Jeremy Blum. It's like complete overachiever.
So do you have a favorite programming language currently that you've been working with?
I think Arduino's would be.
Okay.
Because it's easiest, I would say.
Sure.
Right now, so far in Visual Basics, it's been super easy.
Yeah. Yeah, Whisker's a guru at Visual Basic.
Yeah.
So getting him to pretty much anything else has been a little difficult.
It's addicting. I've been on it for like 2 days now, and I can't get off.
Nice. And what do you? So I'm guessing all programmers essentially do the typical Hello World thing, mm-hmm. But do you have any other programming projects that you're thinking of getting into?
I have a couple of them that are just kind of like way over the top to do at this moment because I have no clue how to yet.
Mm-hmm.
One is like a portable Arduino programmer, so like a phone size one.
Oh, nice.
But I have no clue how I'm going to do that. What was the other thing? I can't remember what the other one was, but it was. I have a list of things. I have a list of things that are really ambitious, and then have a list of things that are like, okay, I can do this in like 30 minutes.
Sure.
And I guess how it took me about like an hour to design the LED cube shield on EagleCAD when I finally finished getting the ideas done.
Mm-hmm. So it's mostly just the planning.
Yeah, it's planning and waiting for help or money. Money also is a huge thing.
Right. Well, things are pretty. This kind of hobby can get expensive very quickly.
But once you have everything, it starts. Once you have all the necessities, it starts leveling out.
Yep.
And really, you're building up a skill set that's highly, highly profitable. So, at some point, it's not going to be a hobby. It'll end up being something that, makes you have more money than everybody else.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's what Eagle is. I mean, like, Eagle is the only bad part about Eagle I can think of is the amount of files I have in my computer. Um,
Just all the different ideas, huh?
yeah,
Nice.
it
Nice.
kind of gets overloaded.
Nice. And that's okay. I mean, the good thing is that you don't have to. You can have them saved, so you can just jot them down and then have them in a place to look at later. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like, I just recently learned how to do OpenSCAD a lot better, and before I was doing just I don't know if you guys know OpenSCAD, but you just basically do like a cube and then you put the the dimensions you want in, and then if you want to put a hole in it, you just do like a cylinder.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
it's a long list of things.
So it's like 3D modeling a little bit.
Yes, it's 3D modeling. A lot of people use it for like 3D printers.
Okay.
And before, my coding was just totally ugly. And after I read the wiki book of OpenSCAD, I got a lot better. My code was actually to the point that I don't have to scroll down. So that was really helpful.
Now, how does 3D modeling translate to code?
OpenSCAD is I would consider it coding because you'd have to put you'd have to like write down your shapes and the dimensions, and say if you wanted it to turn, you'd have to do rotate. You'd have to put translate for where
I
you
see.
want it to be. But I would definitely choose OpenSCAD over like Google SketchUp or something like that
Oh, sure.
because it's easier to navigate through it.
Oh, that makes sense. So like, yeah, okay. All right.
I learned on AutoCAD in school, and that was like, the professional stuff. And by the time that stuff like Google SketchUp was released, it seemed so much like a toy to me that I never even bothered trying to learn it.
There's a sketchy physics that I looked up one time, and it can apply physics to your designs, so you can apply gravity to make it fall, stuff like that,
Nice. That's
or
very
make
cool.
it turn.
Before we started doing the TV show and these podcasts, Addie and I used to do professional 3D modeling for a living.
Yep.
So we know way too much about 3D modeling stuff, but we don't have a MakerBot yet. We really should start looking into those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want one. That seems like a really fun toy.
Yeah.
It's funny how you refer to something like that, a toy.
Well, I mean, some of the things that people have been making have been just toys, but yeah.
Seems like a lot of the people that we talk to on the show have MakerBots or RepRaps. The guy I mentioned earlier, Jeremy, he was just named the
IEEE.
The IEEE face of IEEE college age folks. So anyway, a really big honor for an engineering student to be named that. He worked at MakerBot over the summer this year, and he got to hang out with Bree and all the famous makers and, do all that sort of stuff. I'm sure you'll be doing that kind of thing in, gosh, a couple years here.
I hope.
Oh yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Now, so with all these projects and with all of the new programs that you're learning and such, is there anybody who helps you out? Do you have any mentors?
Jacob, I talk to Mitch a lot.
Okay.
Mitch Altman.
Yep.
Jacob's he works at Heatsink Labs, which is a local hackerspace.
Okay.
And he helped me out with the LED cube when transferring it over from Eagle to Gerber file.
Okay.
Um, when I originally didn't even know about Gerber, I thought it was like that food product from TV. And then when he told me what that I needed to do that in order to send my code, like not my code, my file over to the company that they needed that. So
Gotcha. Very cool. So it's mostly Mitch and was it?
yeah, I mean, I have a list of people.
Yeah.
In several different categories.
Okay. Cool. And you just mentioned Heatsink Labs, the local hackerspace, or makerspace. What do they have going on there, and what do you do there?
I normally go on Fridays. That is like when all the kids my age go there.
Okay.
And that is, it's like a little maker fair.
Cool.
Every day. It's insane. I didn't have a checkers register late. And then when I asked them if they had one there, they're like, "Oh yeah, you can just borrow it." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "It's insane." And they have oscilloscopes. They have a laser cutter. They have a 3D print. They have a MakerBot.
Nice.
Skylar goes there, and he sometimes brings his MakerBot. They have every electrical component necessary. They have a welding station, metal station.
Oh wow. Well, that is pretty darn ideal, isn't it?
Yeah, It's insane. And then there's this one person named Jasper there that she has a Tesla coil.
Ah.
And that was really fun, seeing that thing work.
Yeah.
I want to make a little one. That's a desktop one.
Well, it kind of sounds like you're on your way with the camera, what's it called? Taser. I mean, you're starting to get into those high voltage things. So
there are some tutorials that I've seen that use camera tasers, and then they use a flyback from a TV, which my old TV just recently broke down, so I don't know how to safely go into it to remove it.
Sure.
Because I know there are some dangers to that.
Right.
But I do have a couple of projects listed with that. I want to get the electron going out and see if I hook it up to and power it outside the vacuum tube, if it would actually shoot electrons still, and see if I could like zap things wirelessly.
Sounds like something to take to the hackerspace.
Yeah, that would be like super fun if I could actually do that. It's like a wireless taser.
That would be pretty cool. And I think we all know, of course, the ramifications for zombies with a wireless taser. That would be epic.
One of the best ways to learn about how to work on equipment that has big capacitors in it and, inductive kickback and stuff like that is you got a hackerspace, and there's obviously folks there who are there to help.
Yeah.
So, you bring it in, and somebody who knows can show you which parts of it will bite you.
Yeah, that's actually like what I would ask Jasper about, because she does a lot of high voltage stuff. She's made her own flyback, and she's done a lot of high voltage stuff. So that when I first went there, she showed me her flyback hook and hooked it up, and that was really neat.
Cool.
Because you can't be human and not think that stuff is cool.
True. I think so too. So if you end up making your own Tesla coil, we would love to be able to get a picture of that. I'm sure you'll post it on your blog, but we'd love to be able to at least retweet that and share it.
I want to make a kit for it, because of course you'd have to have warning signs all over it, but you have to think about it in a way that not a lot of people understand how that works, and I still don't.
Sure.
So that would be a good kit to understand.
Yeah, well, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Got to be careful. Cool. Very cool. Now, at those hacker spaces, when you're hanging out with others of your age, do you guys actually get how does it work in terms of getting projects done? Like, I would imagine if I went there at like 14 or whatever, I would be too distracted and just chat with everybody else, you know.
Kind of do that. And like when you're working on the laser cutter and you're waiting for it to stop, if somebody's walks by, you're like, oh, you just start talking to them. Before you know it, the laser beeps and it's done or something like that.
Sure.
And it is awfully distracting because I do have a list of projects in my head, and basically I can go there and ask basically anybody there, because a lot of them are like very skilled in certain areas. So then it's like having a human dictionary.
Right. Yep. I'm with you. We actually have a IRC channel where we chat to a lot of our friends and other makers and other engineers, and it's kind of our internet hacker space is what we like to call it, because
obviously I've been doing this stuff for a long time and I know a lot, and Addie, she's really smart and she can figure most anything out, but having a group of people that each has their own sort of specialty and then bringing them all together in one place, oh my gosh, we can all do these amazing things that none of us could do on our own. It's great.
That's why I think like hacker spaces are that like just too amazing. Because if you look at when you first go into it from the front door, well, the front doors might be locked because they're RFID. Which I thought was amazing too. And when you first go into it, the first thing I locked my eyes on was the Tesla coil, and they have a transformer from a power line that's basically the opposite of a van Graaf generator. That if you have a group of people that are holding hands, you all get shocked instead of just one. I don't think they have a van Graaf generator though. They have a Jacob's ladder all in this front window, these front two windows, and I'm like, that would basically catch anybody's attention if they knew what that stuff was.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's one way of getting people in high voltage.
Now, before I turn Addie loose on you with the ZombieTech traditional questions here, I got one for you. What test equipment do you have so far?
I have a multimeter. That's pretty much it.
Wow.
All right, so you need to get yourself a frequency counter and oscilloscope.
Yeah, I want those. I want to get that portable one from Seed Studio.
A nice
Ooh, yes.
capacitance meter would probably be a good thing. A few little other items, and then you should be able to do some really, really cool stuff.
Yeah. Like oscilloscopes, if you don't even know about them, they're still kind of cool.
Yeah.
And you don't have to spend a lot of money on them either. I just picked up a $20 one on eBay. It's like a 1970s single channel analog oscilloscope. And, because, we're producing a TV show here on a budget, I don't have $10,000 to spend on a brand new oscilloscope. No way, no how. But I definitely could come up with $20 plus like $10 in shipping, and I'm pretty sure you can too.
Yep.
So, don't be afraid to pick up some of that old 1970s and 80s stuff just to get your labs started. You can always upgrade later.
I didn't know like which oscilloscope would be good to buy. And when Mitch came over to my house, he helped me find one, and we settled upon the one that was from the Seed Studio that was portable.
Sure. And that way you can just bring it to any of your maker fairs if you need to, or what have you.
And like when I went to the Maker Faire Phoenix, Skylar asked me if I had a multimeter, and I didn't. So.
Oh wow. So you didn't have a multimeter when you were. You mean you didn't have one at the fair?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay, I get you.
I have a digital one and an older version one.
Sure. I was going to be doubly impressed if you had made the LED cube without a multimeter.
Yeah, that would kind of be hard.
That would be kind of undoable, but hey, I believe in you. So, any advice for how us older, well, I guess I'm not really considered an engineer quite yet, but how older engineers can help younger engineers such as yourself?
Teaching.
Okay.
Teaching what you know to them. I've been taught from several people in several different categories, and that has really widened my fields of where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is I can't really now focus onto one area because they're all really fun.
Sure.
But I do have a lot of knowledge now of different areas, so that would help me out in the future.
Right. Right. Cool. And this is kind of a random question. So, Whisker is high functioning autistic, and you have Asperger's, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So,
We let you guys call yourselves autistic now.
so we actually have an
Begrudgingly.
we have an Asperger's friend and Whisker and she say that they're not in the same category. I mean, in the medical world, I guess they're under the same umbrella per se.
Yeah,
but
the doctors like to call it the same thing, but HFA and Aspies are two different things, and
that's what Whisker says.
From the outside, I'm sure the neurotypicals think we're all the same, but no, we're definitely not.
But on that note, I see you going to a lot of these maker fairs with a whole bunch of crowds. How do you handle that?
I normally, if it's not a maker fair, I don't like crowds or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like noises, and I don't like talking to people a lot. But when it comes to what I like to do, then I will just talk like there's no end.
Sure.
And I will just walk into the crowds and get where I want to go. If it's a maker fair, I'm like, when I went to go to Maker Fair on the Friday before like anybody in the public got to go, it's basically the best time to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a maker, because you don't have you can talk to people privately and get one-to-one with them. Yep. And I actually talked to the people at Architect in May.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And my mom somehow was able to get me to see Adam Savage from Mythbusters because he's doing a talk.
Awesome. Very cool.
Because of the crowd, and when we previously before him he was on, it was Mike Rowe, and
yeah, I saw the video of Mike doing his little talk there.
We couldn't even see him, and we're in like the back of the room.
Mm-hmm.
And because there were so many people in the room and you couldn't see them.
Right.
So that's what she got to thinking of.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's always like in the beginning or when there aren't as many people, like one, you don't have to push through the crowds, and two, you actually don't have to yell across the noise to be able to talk to somebody about their projects.
Yeah. When she brought me into the room, I had no clue that he was there. So it was, okay, I would have liked a pre-warning. So that was a really fun shock. Surprise!
It's a celebrity. Yeah. Although I think you're a bit of a celebrity yourself too. I've been reading that people have been asking for your autograph. Very cool. Do you like the added celebrity?
Yeah, it's really fun. Because I didn't really think that I was that smart beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom thought I was just saying random things because she had no clue what I was saying beforehand.
Sure.
So she was like a little skeptical about what I was saying. Sure. And when I finally went to Maker Fair, she finally understood that I wasn't just making it all up.
Sure. Sure.
But celebrity, it is fun because I have helped a couple of people with Asperger's.
Nice.
And a couple of people that don't open the world of making. So that part's really fun.
Sure. That's what, makers should use their celebrity for, just to encourage other people to get into it and save us all from the zombie apocalypse, of course. So, we have what, 6 minutes? Give or take? All right. So this means this is now my time to ask. Well, I mean, I've been asking questions all night, but just some of our more zombie tech.
We have a couple of questions that we always ask every single guest. So.
Correct. So knowing what you know about zombies and how they're the bad guys, wanting to eat your brains, what 3 tools would you bring to your zombie apocalypse bunker?
Tesla coil.
Okay.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
A air cannon and a lot of guns and bullets.
Awesome. I think we're going to have to also give you the coordinates to our zombie apocalypse bunker so that we can commission a whole bunch of air cannons around the area, because I think if we can get it powerful enough, we might just be able to use stale marshmallows.
Why have an electric fence when you can have a Tesla coil fence?
Oh,
yeah.
That would be excellent. I think you are going to have to work with our defense team in arming the outside, because bullets may
you run out of bullets.
You may run out of bullets, and you may run out of gunpowder, but you will always have lots and lots of marbles, ball bearings, marshmallows, stale marshmallows, and
Daddy's old dirty socks.
Hey. I do my laundry. Thank you very much.
The Tesla coil would incapacitate them because it would override their muscles and make them basically have seizures on the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah. What was it like?
And the camera tasers. They could be like portable.
2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we got to interview the world's foremost expert on zombie neurological disorders. Like, this guy awesome. Has, like, the U.S. government recognizes him as the foremost expert on what would have to go wrong with a human brain and nerves for it to act like a zombie.
Yep.
It's like, oh, we get to talk to the coolest people. It's great.
I think you have a real future in saving the human race.
I didn't even know there was such a position to be
to be filled. There are strange things in this world sometimes. So, and let's see. Okay, so at the zombie apocalypse bunker, of course, defense would be your forte because you're already super awesome at making such things. But is there another system that you would want to set up?
Wardenclyffe. I would want to rebuild Wardenclyffe. That would be like the ultimate deterrent.
What?
Tesla coil. It's like a giant 4-story high Tesla coil.
Oh. Okay. Well, I'm not the expert, and I will defer to you.
It got scrapped. It was one of Nikola Tesla's larger projects.
Ah, I see.
It was supposed to transmit power wires.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that. Yeah. Okay, see, I'm a little dumber than the rest of the folks here. So, yeah. Okay, I understand that. I get that. Okay, good. Perfect. I actually, and it's funny. We should talk about it another time, but
I tried to watch a movie about him the other day, but it was in Polish and it was like from 1990, so I just turned it off. I mean, I like Nikola, but I don't like him that much. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But the wireless transmission of power, I wonder why we still don't have it widespread.
We do. It's just that it's
smaller.
Yeah, it's
really
radio waves. I mean, that's what it is.
And transmit power wirelessly, but like within a foot distance.
Yeah, through inductive coupling.
Yeah. One reason why we haven't rebuilt it is because it was it was like $1 million back then, which is just a ton of money now.
Right. But then it
Yeah.
would save so much, wouldn't it? I mean, you would save on copper wiring and
It used a ton of copper and a very, very large amount of electricity. Enough that when he was doing a small scale, he did a power outage for one of the main cities in one of the states.
that's awesome.
Yeah, he was known
Dear
for that kind of
Mom,
thing.
I caused a power outage in the city of whatever. Sincerely, your son, Nicola.
But he did get to transmit and light up a light bulb a mile away, though.
Ah. I
That
don't know.
was
That
fun.
might be worth it. I think
That-
that'd be so cool to be able to do that.
And the people that were working in the facility while he was going that distance, you had to stuff your ears with cotton balls because that was the best thing that they had, and it was super loud.
I know. One of our first fans of our show, Alan Yates from Sydney, Australia, he actually builds small scale power transmitters that just transmit through the air. He's got some pretty cool experiments.
Seems awesome.
So it is possible.
Yeah. I wonder if you could do that with like a MRI machine, since they make a large magnetic field and use it as a transformer.
You know, that's the second week in a row that MRI machines have come up on the show. Last week we interviewed a doctor, and he was talking about using an MRI machine with an oxygen tank
Oh,
to create a rail gun.
I've heard stories about that. I mean, like, I've heard a story that there's an oxygen tank in like the far corner of the room, and they turned it on, and it just came flying into the MRI.
Yeah.
That's a really big electromagnet.
I know that when I was with my friend, we couldn't. I mean, we had to not strip search, but make sure we didn't have any metal on
Just
our
imagine
bodies.
like a neodymium magnet floor, like with chunks of neodymium magnets all around, and then you turn that thing on.
Oh,
That would just be scary.
yeah. Put the zombies there, not the humans. Oh, I tell you. Well, and in our zombie apocalypse bunker, we have plans for two of them. The doctor and the neuroscientist are going to both strap an MRI machine to their backs and hike it on over to us.
I hope it's the back of their semi-truck, because those things are kind of big.
Maybe
Anyway,
they're just super strong.
As awesome as this conversation is, we are unfortunately out of time
sad.
for today. I wanted to know, is there anything, any websites, whatnot, that you wanted folks to know about?
Mine.
So that one would be, let's
Look what
see.
Joe's making.
Yep, look what Joey's making.blogspot.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and there's a lot of his projects, a lot of links to great things that.
I have my own store there.
Yep. And you can get your 3x3x3 LED cube Arduino shield there.
So, there's a couple hundred of you guys that listen to this show. If you all go and order Joey's stuff at the same time, he's going to be very, very busy.
True. And I'll have to see if I can find the plans for your Canon, because I totally want to make one of those.
It's actually on make.com. It's probably like a lot of pages back, but we do have a tutorial on there.
Awesome. Excellent. So I'm going to go check that too. And then if I have any questions, I'll be sure to let you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And as for us, you can find this show every Thursday at ZombieTech.tv. There's RSS feed and iTunes links on the side, so you can automatically download it to your phone, your iPod, your iTunes, whatever you want. Real easy. I think that's it for me.
That's it for me.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
We had a lot of
It was
fun
really
talking
fun.
today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.